Welcome to Kitchen Talk, a space where we can have open and honest conversations, just like you would with your friend at the dinner table. Some of the things we talk about can be tough, but that's okay. We don't need to shy away from these issues. We can listen to them and learn from them and make things better. Today, we're going to be learning about public transit from Tina Collins. And sometimes it's pretty tough to take the bus. You need infrastructure. You need the buses to be running. It's not so easy. So I'll let you learn more from her. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Tina.
My name is Tina Adelia Collins. You may just know me as Adelia online. I'm going to talk about transit today because it's become a passion project. I've made some connections with like the ATU, the local union for transit. I've attended some of their organized rallies that they've had here. They had a one here, actually just right over there in the summer. I attended another one in the summer. I've done a digital online rally that was hosted by the ATU for all across the country. I reached out to all of my politicians. I sent numerous emails. I called my city councilor, Donna Reardon. She was fantastic. She actually called and talked to me. She said, hey, maybe you should reach out to Patricia Ellsworth, who was the chair at the time of the Parking and Transit Commission. And then we met up and had a virtual coffee date. And then I've just sort of gone from there. Where I'm at right now, I'm still talking about it online, but I actually got accepted to sit on the St. John Parking and Transit Commission. It has been really enlightening, especially with the Stantec audit that has come out. So reading that, developing a plan, there's some really amazing forward-thinking stuff in there that the city can really sink their teeth into and develop transit. It shows that the current transit system in St. John has been very bare bones. And it shows this is why. On top of being very bare bones for years, now we're very bare bones combined with a pandemic and having to social distance, right? So right there, I think that's the key source. We need to have a foundation to build upon. The other thing that it has highlighted is that we need funding. So one of the good things is like the Trudeau government has said that they're gonna have funding for transit. Hopefully that'll come in a couple of years. We'll see. I know that there's talks about it already happening in the city, so I'm excited. I'm following that very closely, but one of the biggest things that happened over the summer that made me really crack into transit was Higgs leaving the money on the table for transit.
And can you tell us more about that?
Well,
for folks watching.
So the federal government was like, here, we're gonna give you funding for COVID to help with your infrastructure for transit. And the articles that I have read have basically said, oh, he left it there because he thought it was for subways. So he didn't actually take the funding, even though the transit in like St. John, Fredericton, and Moncton, and the ATU were like, no, we need this funding. We're desperate. On top of that, in the city of St. John, the council actually asked the Transit Commission to cut their budget by $580 million.
Okay.
This year, in COVID, when if you're relying on ridership as funding, that's a little hard. And this is all stuff that I found out prior to joining the Transit Commission.
So you were saying how transit, for some of your first transit experiences were quite scary in the city.
They were.
Yeah.
Once I got used to transit after a nice shop clerk actually explained transit to me and showed me the big fold-out map of the buses, I found transit really easy to navigate once you understood it.
Yes.
However, I found the times very lackluster. And the reason I found that is because I worked shift work.
So because in St. John, the buses don't run 24/7.
That's right. So I would get off work at like 12 midnight.
Yes.
And need to walk home.
So what are some more of the recommendations that would help transit be more accommodating and accessible in the city?
Well,
Or your ideas too. It doesn't have to be from the different reports that have happened, but in your opinion.
well, again, we need to change our thinking, right?
Yep.
Transit is not supposed to be run like a business. It is a public service.
Yes.
Everyone who lives in the city, or you know what, in the province,
Yep.
should be able to get on a bus and just go. They shouldn't
Yeah.
have to pay for it. They should just have their own bus card,
Yeah.
like a library card.
I love it.
Right?
Yes.
And then we need to change our thinking from the ridership model
yeah.
to where do people need to go? Because what's happening is they're saying, oh, we need more people.
Yes.
We don't have the people, we're going to cut routes because we can't afford it.
Yes.
But you cut routes and then the people leave.
Yes.
And then you don't have the funding. And it's just kind of this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying you need to change it from access.
Yes.
Your seniors need to get to the hospital. They need to get to their doctor's appointments. I need to go see my friends that may live out past the Loch Lomond Mall.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that it's at times that I can get there.
Yeah. While we've been talking, we have been at one of the main hubs for transit in St. John, and I'm not seeing a lot of buses around. So I'm wondering, like, as someone coming from outside of the city, if I miss my bus, it seems like I might be waiting a while.
You might be waiting a while. So one of the things that's hot on the city right now is drawing people, because if you've listened to Don Darling over the past, I don't know how many years, it feels like forever. He's saying we need to grow our city because we need to be able to get more money into the budget to give the people the infrastructure, such as transit,
Yes.
that they clearly want.
Yep.
If you're someone who's moved to the city, and let's say you're trying to draw young people, one of the things we're looking for is a greener way to live.
Yeah.
And we want transit.
Yeah.
But when you look at the transit system, I've had so many friends move here from like Toronto or Halifax, and they come here and they're just like, I tried it for 6 months,
Yep.
realized it didn't suit me being able to get where I needed to go,
Yep.
and I bought a car.
Okay.
But they have said that if transit gets funded and we get more routes and better hours, that they will sell their car
Okay.
and take transit. If we can get that funding and put it towards transit where it needs to go to get the people where they are. There are some great short-term goals, 5-year goals, and 10-year goals in that plan. And I'm really hopeful for transit, but we need funding. So we need people to speak up and say, I need funding for transit. I take transit. Or you know what? I don't take transit, but I would love to ditch my car and take transit. I want a greener solution for our cities. And that's what we need.
I feel like it's really, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
It's one of those things, one of the arguments I hear is, well, I don't have a car. It doesn't take me where I want to go. And it's like, you're right. The current system we have doesn't take you where you want to go.
Yeah.
To make you want to shift your thinking and not get your car renewed when you have your lease come up, or maybe sell your car because transit is working for you.
well, and I think it's also an accessibility issue as well, because St. John is a very difficult city to navigate through, be it through bicycling with our lack of bike lanes, be it through walking when it comes to road maintenance in the wintertime, or even the summertime. Like, I
Ah.
just walked through a couple holes back there.
That's fantastic.
Look at the sidewalk.
If you actually invested in transit, you would have less cars on the road, right?
Yes.
So less cars on the road means less maintenance and money put into the infrastructure that is your roads and highways, which could then go back to making transit better. You want to bring new people here.
Yeah.
You want to develop St. John to be the city that we all know that it can be. And one of the building blocks of that foundation is getting a better transit system. And we're working on it. We just need support.
Accessibility to transit is so important. People need to get places, and especially in cities where it's tough to get around. That's what transit is there for. It's to help people, and it's so important. People shouldn't be limited by the places they live in choosing where they can go and who they can see and what jobs they can take. And there's things that we can all do to ensure that everybody has equal opportunities, no matter where you live.